Good evening, everyone. I'm Michelle Gray, the Director of Programming for the New York Times live conversation series, Times Talks, which pairs New York Times journalists with the brightest and boldest creative minds from the fields of film, fashion, television, music, art, and literature. To find out who's coming next, go to timestalks.com and subscribe to our newsletter. I'm delighted to welcome you to tonight's event, live here in New York and live on the New York Times Facebook page and timestalks.com. Tonight, we're thrilled to be welcoming one of America's most provocative intellectuals and self-proclaimed Amazon feminist, Camille Paglia, and Andy Cohen, an Emmy Award-winning host, producer, and executive producer of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, Bravo's late-night interactive talk show. Ever since the release of her seminal first book, Sexual Personae, Camille Paglia, who currently serves as the University Professor of Humanities and Media Studies at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia, has remained one of feminism's most outspoken, independent, and searingly intelligent voices. Now, for the first time, her best essays on the subject are gathered together in one book entitled Free Women, Free Men, which both celebrates modern feminism and challenges us to build an alliance of strong women and strong men. You will hear much more about tonight's guests from our moderator, Frank Bruni, who has been an op-ed columnist for the New York Times since 2011 and appears in the newspapers on Wednesday and Sundays, focusing on American politics, higher education, and social issues, in particular gay rights. Please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Frank Bruni, Andy Cohen, and Camille Paglia.
Hello.
Thank you two for being here with us. Thank you all for joining us. I feel like one can't have any conversation today without it being at some point about Donald Trump. So I thought we'd just begin with Donald Trump.
Oh, Lord.
Just get him entirely out of the way.
Okay.
In my world of friends and acquaintances, it seems like everybody is either in near hysteria and feels we're in the end of days, or they look at those people and see a bunch of drama queens. I want to know where you two stand on this. What's your state of mind and state of feeling about the Donald Trump era? Yeah, we'll start with you, Camille, because I know you're so shy with your opinions.
Well, you know, I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter. I voted for Jill Stein, so I want to make that clear. My feeling is that an election occurred, okay, and it's incumbent on the defeated party to pull itself together, or else we're going to get a re-election of the present administration. That's what I feel right now.
You feel like he's going to get reelected?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that the Democrats have overplayed their hand. I just can't imagine more.
Well, you're already betting on his re-election less than 100 days in.
Yes, because of what the Democrats needed to do, and what the major media, Frank, needed to do, okay, was to do some soul.
And by that you mean the failing New York Times.
Yes. Okay. All right. Because
we're going to rebrand this failing Times Talks. There's been a lot of
If you read only the New York Times, I mean, I said, oh my God, I said the readers of the New York Times are heading for a major breakdown shock. Okay, if Trump is in fact elected.
Did you think he would be elected?
I actually, I was the very first to call him a carnival barker, and I didn't take him seriously at all. And then it was shortly after the very first Republican debates where I saw, I saw Diamond and Silk, African American sisters, okay, doing a pro-Trump an attack on Megyn Kelly on their podcast. Oh my God, I suddenly saw the populism, right? And from that moment forward, I could feel the momentum of it. And the New York media, was in an absolute bubble about this. Okay, of course, let's not get started on the strategic errors of the Hillary campaign.
Well, we're gonna get to that, but let me ask Andy, when he came down that escalator, however, what was that, 2 years ago now, almost 2 years ago, did you think it was possible we'd be sitting here tonight talking about him in the White House?
No, there was I kept thinking in the back of my head, he could win. He could
win.
Did. I thought it was possible. I was the idiot who was going to 538 and looking at Nate Silver's percentages 18 times a day. And I was like, oh, it's okay. It's at 72% today, so it's going to be okay. And I just felt like the biggest asshole on election night. Like I had been, and then suddenly all the tweets were like, the New York Times was like, the New York Times is predicting 85% chance that Trump is going to win now by, 9:30 at night or
yeah,
something.
the needle
like,
kept going
how
like
did
that.
that,
Yeah.
So I do feel like an idiot, that I got sucked into this thing. But when I did, nothing was sticking to him. He was behaving like a real housewife at all of these debates. And he was, and not in a good way, and there is a good way, but he was talking to people in a way that they were connecting with. And, the thing that is so upsetting to me and a lot of people is that facts don't matter anymore. And he can lie and lie, and it's his own truth. And it's funny that you said that you think he could be reelected. Just today, I was walking by a monitor, and I don't know what channel was on, but he has some slogan about Jobs for America or some new plan.
Yeah, it was announced in Wisconsin today.
And
yeah.
I saw that chyron, the Jobs for America plan, and I thought to myself, okay, it doesn't even matter if this works or not. He could get reelected because he has a Jobs for America. It's like, but I had that thought today.
Before we get too substantive,
Okay.
how is Trump like
There's no danger of that from this position.
How is Trump like a real housewife? Explain that.
How is he not?
And you tweeted this to great.
I've tweeted it a lot. Well, I don't want to take up too much time. He is to me, and you know the housewives. You're still on board, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good. He is to me like he's like a first season Orange County housewife who hasn't figured out her hair and makeup yet. She will say anything to stay on the show. So she'll, at the reunion, it's like, you know what? I'm going to bring out my big guns. I'm going to accuse this person of this and that and do every nickname and say Jesus jugs and whatever it is to stay on the show. And that worked. He stayed on the show. And he, alternative facts, it has now come up. We have 3 reunions going right now. The term alternative facts came up at the Beverly Hills reunion and at the Atlanta reunion because it's the perfect Real Housewives term. Well, maybe that's an alternative fact. But I also just want to say he has his own tagline too, which he said to that reporter from Time a couple weeks ago, which is, he said, you know what? Things aren't, what did he say? Things aren't so bad. I'm the president.
And you're not.
And you're not. So I guess things aren't so bad. Something like that. And I was like, that's her Housewives tagline. There it is.
Now, if he wants this second term that somehow you two are already talking about, is he better off continuing to be a Real Housewife or departing from that and becoming a surreal housewife?
Look, I'm of the camp that I want him to get off Twitter so that we can, I want him to get off Twitter so that he for all the reasons. Most presently, I'm scared of a nuclear war with North Korea. So I think it would be great if he started acting like a president, but maybe the people who like him don't want him to.
What bothers you most about him?
About him?
Yeah. The short version. We could be here days,
No, I think we should take a step back here. The point is, that nomination, GOP nomination, was Marco Rubio's, to lose. Even the Hillary campaign felt that he would be the nominee. If Marco Rubio is one of the most disastrous debuts of a political figure ever. The entire country was waiting for a Latino candidate from the GOP. And he had nothing. There was nothing there. Okay, it was like it's really a tragedy. Okay, how completely untalented and mediocre that guy was. Right. So I mean, so the fact that Trump won the nomination, it has to be. You look at the field, and just be glad. Okay, look at the other candidates. That the GOP had. It would be better with any of them. At least Trump is a man of business, of the world.
Of business.
Well, the point is he's coming from the world of business rather than from the world of politics and show and
He's coming from the world of reality television,
well,
which is a world I'm in, which is fine.
Listen, I had a grudge against him. I had a grudge against him from decades ago when he jackhammered the Art Deco facade of Bonwit Teller. Okay, so my grudge goes way back. Okay? I regard him as an art vandal.
An art vandal.
Another figure from the election started to come up in these comments, so let's play a short clip which will tee up a discussion about her. It's you, Camille, giving your unvarnished opinion, shockingly, on a figure. Can we get the first clip, please?
You said Barack Obama is going to be the most bitter ex-president we've ever had. Yeah, why?
Why? Because can you imagine being hope and change and ushering in what is supposed to be this sort of post-racial next step president, and then you usher in Donald Trump, who is single-handedly undoing all of his cornerstone policies as we speak.
Right.
And he's also been extremely vocal, where President George W. Bush beforehand
Every other president
went to Texas.
No other president has said a word.
Didn't say anything. He's already being vocal. So yes, I do think he's going to.
What is the line though when you have the president tweeting out saying, look, Obama wiretapped me. Mm-hmm. How does he stay silent?
Okay, I want you to answer that question, how does he stay silent, or should he? But for starters, one of the things going on there between you and Megyn was the question of, did Barack Obama bear some responsibility for the election of Donald Trump? Did he?
Yes, yes, certainly.
How?
Absolutely. Well, a number of things. And number one, his discouragement of Biden entering. Okay, I believe Biden would have won that election. But it's pretty clear there was that moment that Biden was about to announce, and something went on. We don't know what. All of a sudden, mysteriously, the figure of Obama appeared, and Biden was neutralized. So yes, Obama bears a great weight.
For that reason only, or for other ones too?
Well, I think that I voted for Obama the first time. I was bitterly disappointed, okay, in his performance.
Who'd you vote for the second time?
Jill Stein was who I voted for. But his use of drones, I feel his general lackadaisical style of governance, his Ivy League elitism. When pushing the transgender bathrooms was at a certain, but when the Obama administration did that, I like many others, said, there's the election, right there. That was just the worst time moment, okay, to approach a radical new idea.
So you ascribe to the thinking that identity politics was a big problem for the Democratic Party?
Tremendously. Okay, this twisting of Title IX, the forcing of, worsening the sexual harassment hysteria on campus. The Obama administration, to me, okay, with a bunch of snobbish, top-down types. Okay, so Trump's populism, and even his speaking style, okay, his Queen's speaking style, resonated with the people much more than. And what did Obama do for the inner city? Exactly what? Nothing. The inner cities remained exactly the same. Okay, after 8 years.
It's funny also that you can call Trump. It's interesting that Trump is a populist, given that he lives quite literally in a gold tower. But he effectively became a populist, and that does say something about what
you have to realize his style is actually the style of the workmen in the construction pits.
Right.
And the way he talks is actually genuinely non-elitist, even though he has all the money and the power and the glory and so on. He's never really lost that, and that it grates his style. His style of male populist voice grates on the upper middle class caste of journalists, and they never understood it.
I think also people from New York have a baggage with Donald Trump that the rest of the country doesn't connect with, that goes on for so many years just because he was this guy who was just around for so long. And that's something that I don't think other people understand.
Right.
You know?
But do you think Obama bears any blame?
Well, I think that he played into, I think that there was a narrative created around him by the right and by cable news that Trump very effectively continued. And so, sure, I mean, it's a repudiation of everything that came before him.
What do you both think of the family Trump? Are there people in the family Trump who intrigue you particularly, who offend you particularly?
Oh, God.
Who are more or less like a
Tiffany
real...
Trump's Facebook page today? I don't have my phone. It was sent to me. She posted a photo of of Donald Trump in the Oval Office, like a cartoon, hugging Jesus, and it was a prayer for Jesus to give him the strength, but also the knowledge to kind of keep us safe and protect. It was...
So first you walk on water, then you fill Donald Trump's brain. These are the miracles, or...
Tiffany Trump.
I think that the press is over-concerned with the family. I think that's barking up the wrong tree, because I don't think anyone really cares.
Well, but hold on. But if Ivanka and young Jared, if Jared is in Iraq and he is our great statesman, then we should be concerned about the family.
Well, listen, I lived through Bobby Kennedy being appointed. I adored JFK and I campaigned for him as an adolescent. But his appointment of his brother to the Attorney General is far more.
Bobby Kennedy was a lawyer.
That's nepotism of
okay,
far worse.
Jared was, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, at least he's in the wheelhouse, is all I'm saying. I mean, like, this kid is in Iraq. I don't know what he's doing. Anyway, but no, I think the thing is, there are so many ways that we can get diverted by so many things. And so maybe you're right, but it is, but if Ivanka has an office at the White House and she's his close advisor, and so is Jared, then it seems like it's something that we must be concerned about. And also the business, I mean, there was the piece about Ivanka the night that she had dinner with the president of China. It was just announced that they're doing some business with, I don't know.
Would you think the American people care sufficiently about those sorts of conflicts of interest, or they just go over their head?
I don't.
No, I think people are waiting to see whether this administration can govern and whether it can produce results.
Right.
And so the next election will depend on what happens. So I think all these things, to me, are still extraneous. Can they produce the results that Trump promised? And I think that's what it'll come down to. But I think it's up to the Democrats to get themselves together and produce put some candidates forward from a younger generation. I mean, for heaven's sake, I want the baby boomers, my generation, to get off the stage. I'm sick of this. Okay. I mean, Hillary and we've got to get. Why the candidate of the Democratic Party was not either a man or a woman in their 40s or 50s. Okay? Hillary was born my year. We are ready, for the nursing home. Please.
All right.
You don't look ready for the nursing home.
Well.
Speaking of Hillary, now we have the clip that I was thinking.
Okay.
Please roll the next clip.
I can't wait for this one.
Uh-oh.
Hi, I just wondered if we had it all to do over again, would you vote for Hillary?
What? Never. I would never vote for Hillary. No, never. All right. There's a piece in the book that I wrote, and one of those op-eds I wrote for Time, where I talk about what would make a good woman president, and I discuss, the qualities. And I say that we had two very strong candidates, who never ran. Okay, and I've said for years, I've said for 20 years, Senator Dianne Feinstein of California, no matter what you think of her policies, should have been the first woman president. She has true gravitas. She had experience as a mayor. her. She's very familiar with military matters. She had the whole package, but she didn't run. Okay, Nancy Pelosi is another one. Nancy Pelosi came from a political family in Baltimore, in Maryland, and so on. She has risen to has had the highest position any woman has ever come to in terms of the history of the United States government as Speaker of the House. All right, but again, she didn't run. All right, so the point is, why? Okay, now I have a theory about why they.
What is your theory?
Your
theory about why those women
yes,
didn't run and why?
My theory is that they saw what happened to the great Geraldine Ferraro when her husband's finances were suddenly the subject of a media hunt. Okay, and I think that's my theory, is that Feinstein and Pelosi, both of them very wealthy women, did not want any kind of a troubling of their own husband's private matters.
But why would that inhibit a woman when there are plenty of wealthy men who run and go through that sort of financial investigation? Why would that be particularly discouraging to a woman?
I don't think there are too many cases, okay, where a male politician, would get into trouble because of financial dealings of his wife. It just hasn't happened yet. It may. I mean, if Sheryl Sandberg, that level of, you have a woman like that married to a male politician, then you could probably get some ambiguities of that.
You feel we are in better shape right now? We're safer right now with Donald Trump in the White House than if Hillary had won the election?
Don't get me started on Hillary. We would go on for hours. I've been writing about Hillary for my entire career, for heaven's sakes. My highlight was Ice Queen, Drag Queen. Okay, my article back in 1996 for the New Republic. All right, where I diagnosed that woman's strange character better than anyone else has. Okay, and she is. Why is it only a fanatic? Okay, only a monomaniac. Okay, so hungry for power will run for president. What we have to do is straighten out, our presidential campaigns in this country. It goes on for far too long. There's far too much money involved. The money, right? We need to shorten the period, and this will make it more likely that we'll get women candidates, okay, who are not going to have to go around the country and giving up 2 years of their lives, okay, and it's brutal, okay.
But you think women are less willing to do that than, because you're describing
Yes.
a process that, okay.
Yes, I honestly believe it's not any kind of misogyny, it's not any kind of anti-woman thing that's kept women out. It's the sheer brutal experience of being in the public eye. Okay, the moment you step into the arena, man or woman, you will be cut down. Okay, you have to be willing. You have to be a fighter. Okay, or have a very thick skin. Okay, most women seem to personalize the barrage of negativity, hostility, insults. Okay,
So they have thinner skin?
Yeah, I do. You know, hormonally, it's true. Okay, actually. I know hormones. I've been out at the New York Times, okay, for many a decade.
I don't believe we're an anti-hormone newspaper. I'm not aware of that.
Science writers the women science writers at the New York Times were some of my bitterest opponents over the years. Yes, science writing became yes, Andy. Science writing became politicized at the New York Times.
You're saying, hold on, can I just follow up? So you're saying, A, that you feel safer with Trump in control of the nuclear stuff than
Why am I
her?
the center of what does anyone care?
Well, no, I'm just following up. You feel safer with him in control of the nukes than Hillary? Yes.
Hillary, look at today's review, okay, in the New York Times. Okay, they show they love the incredible incompetence and chaos
Of the campaign.
Hillary, the way you run a campaign is the way you would run a country.
And you are saying that women are thinner skinned than men?
Yes, I think that's one reason why women haven't entered the presidential sweepstakes.
But don't you think that Trump is the thinnest skinned person?
Yeah, well, that's
ever?
true.
I mean, I would argue, by the way, that Hillary Clinton is one of the toughest. Look at the shit that has come up on her, and she has that. Why would you even want to run for president after all of the mishigas that you've been through and the names that this man is calling you? I mean,
Andy, do you think that a woman running faces more withering criticism than a man?
probably. Yeah,
Did
for
she?
sure.
Did she? Because you have said you think the press gave her a pass and was in the tank for her. Other people believe the attention to all the emails that went on and on was quite the opposite of being in the tank. Where do you come down on that?
Look, I think both of them got a rough ride in the press. I think that Trump gave people so much. There were so many things that you could write about and he was so unconventional. He was saying things that no one had ever seen anyone like him. So, and again, I think that he pings things in New Yorkers and in people in the media who have covered him for so long that other people don't understand, and it makes us into maniacs. And so, yeah, I think people in the media got a little maniacal about him, but I think people on the other side of the media were already maniacal about her. It's like this crazy.
But you would prefer to have her in the White House over Trump?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
There's somebody else you two disagree strongly about that I want to move to get us away from politics. I mean, not just one other person, but we'll just move to this person.
Okay.
Camille, you have recently written less than lovingly about the way Madonna is aging.
Oh, you turned on Madonna completely.
And about the way she's aging and the way she casts herself as a victim of sexism.
She was her greatest defender, the biggest, wrote reams and reams, huge Madonna defender.
Yes, but listen, just in my gender images and media course in the past few weeks, I've shown some of Madonna's brilliant videos of the 1980s and 90s, works of art of such a level, okay, that I'm practically speechless when I see them again, okay? The Open Your Heart video, okay, the Vogue video, and so on, all right? I can criticize the present Madonna for the way she has betrayed the genius Madonna, okay, of the 80s and 90s, right? Madonna should have continued making those videos, okay, working in collaboration with European directors and European cinematographers and so on, okay? I think it is a travesty. The present Madonna is a travesty, okay? She has undone the dignity that she attained, okay, as a major artist of the late 20th century. There's no excuse for this. I'm getting so sick and tired of people who are young people who have no idea of the brilliant Madonna of the past. They only see the stupid Madonna now, okay? All right? So I will continue to flail the present Madonna, hoping to somehow spark her creative juices again.
And you disagree with that?
Well, I don't fully disagree with everything you're saying, actually. And I reread your piece on her this morning, and it especially bothers me that people of a younger generation don't understand what her role has been in pop culture in the world and in the way that people view women and sexuality and gender and homosexuality and art. But I do think that some of what you said I thought was really great about, if you go to the Met Ball and your ass is hanging out and people say a 58-year-old shouldn't, well, what was your impression of her wearing, her ass hanging out at the Met Ball?
I thought it was terrible.
Okay.
I just thought she looked bad because Marlene Dietrich was her great model, and Dietrich knew how to conserve her glamour right to the end.
Okay, so my argument on that is, and I agree. And listen, there's a school of thought that thinks that she should park herself in Vegas and put a black dress on and do the hits, and that's aging gracefully. On the flip side, what I like about current Madonna and what I respect is that she has a song called Unapologetic Bitch, and she also has a song called Bitch I'm Madonna. And I look at her with her ass hanging out, and I think, okay, this is a woman who's been Madonna all her life. This is what she does. She has her ass hanging out. And I think that there's something really ballsy about her showing up at the Met Ball with her ass hanging out, whether she's 58 or 28 or 68. It's like, bitch, she's Madonna. So, all right, let her do it. And who is anyone to say, now that you're 58, you can't do that? Does she look a little ridiculous? In the eye of the beholder. But I kind of love her. I love her for saying, bitch, I'm Madonna. I'm still Madonna. This is what I do, and I'm going to keep doing it. So.
There's an irresistible segue here to younger women whose asses are hanging out often. Can we have the third clip, please?
Kardashians?
Well, Lena Dunham to me is just absolutely the symbol of a certain kind of neuroticism which masquerades as feminism. I mean, Lena Dunham has a lot of problems that have to do with body image. I call her the Indra Dworkin of today. This exposure of the body as something ugly.
Now,
okay, now you went on to call her, I think, like a fat pile.
No, I said she was a pile of pudding. She's like a pile of pudding.
Okay.
So I'm taking it you did not watch the girls' finale.
No, but I read about it.
She was very naked in it yet again.
Oh, God.
Well, every episode, I mean...
Now, she would probably say to you, I'm not inflicting ugliness, I'm saying I don't find this ugly. Why is it okay to call another woman ugly? You.
Because I can call a woman beautiful, I can call a woman ugly. I have no problem. I'm Italian. I have absolutely no problem with that. Brutta, che brutta.
But if she
owns it.
But if she had a better but if she
bruttissima.
But if she had a better body, you would not be offended.
No, it's not it. That's not it. It's sort of like
Partly it.
So self.
Partly it, yeah.
Partly it.
No. She's self-consciously political about her body. Okay, like that. Okay. Oh, okay. This is not, it's not for me to say, okay? I'm a baby boomer, okay? My period was the great period of Julie Christie, Jean Moreau, Catherine Deneuve, okay? So I'm sorry, I'm in the age of the potatoes, okay? All right, Lena Dunham.
But when you tick off those actresses, why aren't you being the worst looksis in the world?
I am. I totally believe in lookism. You don't,
Okay.
No. I'm totally on the side of gay men, okay, for the last 2,000 years. The cult of beauty, okay, has influenced me profoundly, okay. Oscar Wilde was my very first intellectual interest. And yes, we make value judgments about the beautiful. Yes, it goes all the way back to Plato. It goes all the way back to Alcibiades, okay.
Do you get as exercised about Lena Dunham as Camille does?
Well, I have in my life gotten whipped up about Lena Dunham, so I don't want to. No, I have. I think it's her right to be naked as much as she wants to be, and and I don't know necessarily. Your impression is that by her being naked, she's saying, "I'm beautiful." Maybe she's saying, I'm playing someone who always is naked, and there are... Maybe
she's saying, I don't give a shit.
Well, she's definitely saying that, but maybe she's also saying, I'm trying to turn people's impression of, what is beautiful or, what it means to be a woman on its side. I mean, couldn't that be it?
No.
No?
Why could that not be it? It's a good argument.
Because she's an elitist masquerading as a populist. Okay, there's so many levels of hypocrisy in that woman.
There is, and this came up when we were in the green room before we came out, there is something on the air right now that I quite love, you quite hate, that's all about women and beauty and aging, and it's the series Feud, Betty and Joan.
Why do you hate it?
That was my question.
Why?
I suffered through episode 1, and then I said I would never look at it again.
What is the issue with Feud?
Well, you have to realize how deeply immersed I am in Joan Crawford and Betty Davis studies.
Okay.
All right, first
Good.
of all.
Well,
Okay.
we're gay men, so we are
Yes,
too.
this is true. Okay.
Okay.
I felt that it's just off. Okay, the portrayals are totally off. I mean, I love Jessica Lange, but I thought it was absolutely madly off. I think that the great female impersonators like Charles Pierce and so on got those characters way better than this. I was outraged by the treatment of the great director Robert Aldrich. I mean, I thought that the way he's treated. I mean, I thought everything about it just was the little characters, the Hedda Hopper and so on. Everything is off to me. Everything is wrong. I despise the photography. I despise the lighting. I despise the costumes. What can I say? Okay,
So you loved it.
Huh?
You loved it. You loved
it. I
You're binge watching.
I tried. I had it on the number one. I just suffered through episode 1, and with it on, and I
have to tell you that I think you should watch just last week's episode, because first of all, I think Jessica Lange is giving up the performance I think it's crazy what she's doing. It's incredible, I think. And I like the fact that she's playing it totally. I'm a student of Joan Crawford as well. And I like it that she's playing it completely in a different way than we've seen her. But I think that what she's bringing out is this humanity in Joan Crawford that I haven't seen. And I feel for her. But I think that it is so much about misogyny and aging and being a woman in that time of an age.
Oh,
and
these issues. I'm talking about, you know, these major figures of the 20th century. And
Right.
like in my class, I show the very earliest films that we have of Joan Crawford from the 1920s, where
Right.
you can see her personality, you know, even in where she's doing these silent film Charleston things and so on. We know this kind of armored, she was an Aries, okay, like me, right? She was an armored personality, okay, and I'm
But you know,
sorry,
in her-
whatever Jessica Lange is doing is interesting, but has nothing to do with Joan Crawford.
Well, by the way, in Joan Crawford's later life, she was a, deep alcoholic. She was in some form of misery. She was largely alone. So, I mean, I agree. That is how she was in her early life, but this is about...
No, but it's been reported just how when she had the water cooler full of vodka
Yeah.
on the set
Yeah.
of The Best of Everything.
Yeah. She loved it.
Yeah, no, I can tell. She's coming over. We're going to watch the finale together.
Okay, all right.
One of the things I admire greatly about you is you do speak your mind. You're not afraid to be caustic and, utterly withering about someone. Have you ever regretted something you've said or written about someone, or met someone afterwards and thought, Jesus, this is awkward?
Well, no, but I mean, I feel sorry for her. I mean, poor Naomi Wolf has been a figure of fun for me. Since I called her Little Miss Pravda, early on. I was always throwing shade. People didn't recognize this. I'm doing like drag queen stuff, always. So I feel a little sorry for Naomi sometimes, but no. I mean, no one else I can think of.
No regrets ever.
No, absolutely not. Okay. In fact, I have I'm an Amazon warrior. I love to be polishing my weapons and just sharpening those arrows, waiting for the moment when I can let it fly.
What's the most hurtful thing anyone's ever said about you? What's the most hurtful thing anyone's ever said or written about you that got to you?
There's nothing hurtful, okay? It's nothing hurtful. I mean, there are lies, total lies.
Let me ask you a question. If Lena Dunham called you ugly on the Today Show tomorrow, what would your?
Well, I don't have any problem. Well, I have been a plain Jane my entire life. I have no problem at all. I'm on the low end of the human spectrum. I'm like a million gay men, okay, who have been born to mediocrity, in the hinterlands, okay, and who fall in love with fashion and beauty. I mean, it's a story that's like thousands of years old at this point, okay, and so I'm very much like I'm like Lip Synca, Lip Synca. Like John.
Are you?
Yes, who's completely. You would pass him on the street and you would say, he's the nothing, and then he becomes Lip Synca.
You're like Erica Jane and Erica Girardi.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
I keep on trying to get you two to disagree, but Camille, you were saying backstage or back in the green room that you actually very much admire the work Andy does, and you think in some ways he's an underappreciated cultural figure.
Absolutely.
Please talk
I
about
become
that.
enraged when I see articles on Andy because they are so empty, so utterly vacuous, without any sense whatever, okay, of the tradition you belong to. I have called you in an article. I've called you the Florence Ziegfeld of our time, okay, and so on. Okay. I admire your work falls for me into three large areas. Okay, number one, as an executive producer, it's unbelievable. Okay, I don't understand how you're able to accomplish all this and still be a bon vivant. Okay, it's not, right? When we read his books, which I do, okay, it's as if Auntie Mame has come back to life again. In fact, I'm just going to call you Andy Mame. From now on, okay. All right. And then I think your work, like on the reunions or on your late night show and so on, you've brought back the old style of hosts, the genial hosts of the Johnny Carson era, Merv Griffin, Mike Douglas and so on. I despise the kind of snarky hosts today of those nightly shows. I won't watch any of those things, like Colbert and Jon Stewart, all that stuff. Only snark, 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 snark. Okay, you've brought back that pre-snark style, okay, to television work. Okay, and then number 3, okay, all right, is what you've done to bring back the soap genre, which I've written about extensively in many different places. When the soaps were killed, okay, by the megalomania, okay, of that whole Agnes Nixon era. Okay, we're going to make soaps, topical. We're going to show that soaps can have meaning. So they destroyed the actual, the female-centered emotionalism, okay, of the early soaps. So when Donna Mills left, Knots Landing, it was the end. And I wrote, I wrote, I was always complaining about this in my salon column, in the 90s and so on. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, you have come and you have recreated that world. It's a universe. I inhabit that universe. Okay, I am.
You watch all the Housewives?
As many as I can, and I watch them. I watch the episodes over, sometimes 3 times over. Okay, to appreciate them. I mean, the people who do production for you, okay, are not getting the credit they deserve. Okay, the cinematography, the editing, it is brilliant, okay, what's going on in your show, okay, and nobody is taking it seriously, okay, it's the old style movie values, because no one knows how to photograph anything anymore, okay, right, I love to just appreciate the fine technical work, where you get a scene set up, okay, quick, like this, the space, then, the table, the flowers, the silverware, the dresses, amazing, okay? It's a cosmos, okay? And you created it. How did he create? How? I don't know how.
Team effort. I work with a great group of people.
Yes, I know, but how can you enjoy? You seem to enjoy your life so much.
I do.
Okay, and
what's not to enjoy?
But your books never really show when you're working.
Well, that's kind of boring to. Yeah. But also, you can't. A lot of the stuff that goes on, I can't actually write about yet.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
What have you wanted to put on TV and not been able to get on TV yet?
On the Housewives?
In general, any kind of programming. What have you always yearned to put on television?
Well, there are people that I would love to get on those shows that either wouldn't do it or we've lost in the end. There are random people that I remember. When we were putting the Real Housewives of D.C., which wound up being torpedoed by the dreaded Salahis who crashed the White House, yeah. There was a wonderful woman who was this kind of Nigerian princess that we were trying to get on the show, and I courted her, and she dropped out at the last minute. So
why'd she drop out?
Her husband. That happens commonly with housewives. It's kind of the #1 reason for housewife falling out from the show. The husband says, I'll divorce you if you do the show.
Were you surprised as you went along by how many people were willing to do it?
Not really. Yeah.
People love to be on TV.
They do.
Yeah.
There's one thing money can't buy: fame.
We want to give you all a chance to ask some questions. There are 2 people who are going to walk around carrying microphones. If you raise your hand, they will come to you and allow you to ask a question. And we're also going to ask some questions from cue cards that are coming in through Facebook Live, I think.
Are we on Facebook Live?
Well, but somehow we must be, because they're asking questions. These are from, but let's start with people out there. Yeah.
Hello. Camille, big fan of yours. I went to feminist. I went to feminist classes in Montana because of a lot of your work back in the '90s. But I do have to ask.
Feminist classes in Montana. I love it. That is the most granola sentence I've heard all day.
But I must ask this question. A lot of people have criticized Hillary for, in particular. I know probably want to get over the Hillary topic, but in particular, like her, how she dealt with Monica Lewinsky. But yourself, being a great admirer of the Real Housewives franchise, I'm sure a lot of the women in those shows, they're very primal. They'll, throw their mimosa. Teresa will flip the table. I'm just trying to understand how you can hold her to a certain disregard in terms of something like Monica, but yet you do have a larger area for yourself to enjoy the primalness that
Is
certain
there a
people...
double standard in
Thank you.
loving the housewives versus having an opinion on how Hillary handled the situation with Monica?
Well, actually, I think my attitude was about her treatment of the other women who accused Bill Clinton of, in one case, assault and so on. I mean, I just thought that the Clintons' treatment of women was horrible, and that this was kind of swept under the rug during Hillary's 2 campaigns. I'm probably the only feminist who felt that, I voted for Bill Clinton twice, the only feminist who felt that, that Bill Clinton's treatment of Monica Lewinsky was atrocious. And one of my complaints was simply that he didn't treat her like a mistress. She never had any of the perks of being a mistress. I mean, it wasn't that I was objecting to a powerful man having a second love life or a third or fourth love life. But what did she ever get out of that? All she got out of was like a stained dress. Okay? He never took her anywhere. He could have taken her to some resort.
Where's he going to take her?
Yeah, he had. You remember when he fell down and broke his leg? Okay, what was happening? I wonder. Remember, he was at one of his friends' houses in Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
He was having a secret weekend of some sort. He could have taken her, shown her a good time. The poor girl got nothing. Okay. Right? She was servicing him, like in an office. Okay. I mean, it's ridiculous. So, I'm tacky, utterly tacky.
Not an office, the Oval Office.
Let's move on to another question. And so that more...
I'm not sure I answered your question.
So that as many of you as possible can get questions, and please try to keep them brief.
I have a question for Andy. What is one thing you've written about someone that you've been the most nervous for them to read?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I was nervous. I wrote about this experience I had on co-hosting The View in my second book, and Barbara Walters completely ripping me a new one during the commercial break, and I was kind of nervous about her seeing it. I'm having a mind blank, but there's been a bunch in my diaries that I've been scared about. Yeah.
Well, we love reading it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Did anybody ever come back at you and say, "I can't believe you wrote that"?
Yeah, random people that I've been on dates with, who I wrote about the dates. Months, people who are really not in my life who said, wow, it was that bad, There's still a few kind of hanging chads out there of people who, so to speak, who are who I know are in my future, who I'm going to hear from.
Hi, this is for both of you. Is there a housewife that you would vote for the White House?
Is there a housewife you would vote for the White House?
I don't think so.
Well, I might, Bethany as mayor of New York. I don't know. Seems plausible in this era. Heather Thompson or Heather Dubrow? Yeah.
Hi, and
Do we have another one?
Hi.
hi, I'm over here.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so glad you guys are in the same place. It's like my personal Christmas right now. We watch your show every night, Andy. My supportive husband and I
Thank
do.
you.
And many months ago, we were watching, Heather Dubrow was on, and you did the first election poll, and you said, and it was kind of a joke. You were like, who are you going to vote for, Trump or Hillary? And I mean, I watch your show, and I imagine that most people that watch your show are women or gay men, just fun-loving people. And it was, 80%
It was
for Trump. It was like
68%
it was like
Trump
pretty, and you guys were both kind of shocked.
and 32% Hillary. Yeah.
Where was your mind going from there? Because I mean, your demographic is kind of everything that everyone was saying, are, gay men and women are not
It's
voting
what
for
you
Trump.
think it's what you think the demographic of the show is. And at first, we did the poll several times. We did it that night, and then we did it again a few weeks later, and I feel like our polling was better than Nate Silver's, unless we have more members of the Electoral College watch what happens live. But no, it was really fascinating, and it was really because it also taught me, hey, maybe shut your mouth a little bit about Donald Trump because you're pissing off a lot of your viewers, and but that was in June of last year, and it made me think that was another little notch where I thought, okay, and we were thinking, you know what, maybe it's just that people who are voting for Trump are more likely to vote in a poll on a TV show. I mean, all sorts of things went through my head, but once again, watch what happens live audience. We're on the pulse.
Hi, this is a question for both of you. I was wondering, for the Housewives, how do you hope that viewers are looking at the Housewives as a way? It could be a mix of both. Either looking at these women and ripping them apart, or watching and thinking, oh, I can see myself in that instance.
I think that the reason the show is as successful as it is, and not only as successful, but stronger than it's ever been, is that people love to judge human behavior. And there's a lot of judging. There's a play along at home. It's sociology. I think people actually have a real connection and rooting interest in a lot of the people on the show. They love them. They love to hate them. And if it was not grounded in some reality and humanity, it would not still be going on. It would simply be a cartoon. What do you think?
Well, I think it's anthropology myself. I mean, I think anyone who's studying gender, in any form, should be watching these shows because I think it really reveals the true power dynamics that go on among women. I think it's absolutely true. All kinds of kinship patterns and friendship patterns and sexual competition, styles of language. I mean, there are all kinds of things. Like Erica Jane is always complaining about the game of telephone that goes on. Okay, but this is something I had noticed in women and also in the early soaps. Okay, like there was a motif in the soaps. 1960s, 1970s, where a secret, okay, whatever it might be, would be conveyed, okay, from one woman to another in the fictional town that the soap was about, okay? And so, and the whole thing was about watching the reaction of the next woman who would get the news, okay? The reaction, the emotional interplay, all this, the layer upon layer upon layer of emotion in women, okay, that there hasn't been any room for in our culture, except in the great period of movies, okay, when you had the great divas who were the stars of the studios, who were created by the studios, and so on. And so I think there's a tremendous amount of emotional truth in these shows, even when it's clear that they've been, that you have two women meeting at a restaurant and they've been told, okay, talk about this, okay, all right, but whatever, it's still absolutely raw. I mean, there are things that are absolutely, truly raw. I mean, even things on the reunion shows, okay, when you get to, like, the Countess, Luann is like still mad at Carol for stealing the chef, okay, who dated her, and you can really, there's something absolute, there's no place else in the culture, okay, where we're getting the kind of emotional authenticity that's on the Real Housewives franchise.
It's a pretty ringing endorsement.
I like her.
Yeah. Let me throw in one of these quickly from the Facebook Live audience. This is from Jessica, I'm probably mispronouncing the last name, I apologize, Jessica Sein-Baird. She wants to know, and I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, Camille, because you're a fan of this woman, is Jill Stein as much to blame for Hillary Clinton's loss as Barack Obama?
I mean, you know, like I voted for Ralph Nader once too. Okay, and we were all blamed. Okay, for Gore losing. I don't accept this. I mean, I think the country would gain, okay, with more parties. We don't want a situation where there are 13 parties and you know, and you get a kind of gridlock, okay, like in some countries in the world, or where there always has to be a coalition in order for anything to get done. But I do think that the, you know, that the U.S. is very hamstrung by these huge parties, okay, which have become almost they're almost brand names rather than
that's a big picture, long game thought. I think what the person is asking is, as a matter of arithmetic, is it possible that Jill Stein's to blame?
I don't know, and I don't care. Okay, frankly, I mean, I just think that Hillary was the wrong candidate, and that the party, you know, I was hoping that Martin O'Malley would get some coverage. You know, the New York Times, you know, imposed a blackout of a year on Bernie Sanders. If it wasn't for the way he was in effect erased by the New York media, I think he could have won. If it wasn't for the corrupt superstructure of you know, super delegates of the Democratic Party, Sanders would have won. Okay, so what is this blame game? I mean, I don't give a damn, okay, that Hillary Clinton is not in the White House. I'm glad she's not. That woman, okay, destabilized North Africa, okay, for heaven's sakes, okay, you know, taking out Gaddafi. I hope everyone here has seen that video, okay, where she's like boasting about the death of Gaddafi and so on. I mean, this woman's a maniac, okay, and you know. And I may be the only person who took, you know, a Democrat who took Benghazi seriously. The death of an ambassador, it was an absolute atrocity, okay? Everyone ignored it, okay? It was all swept under the rug. Okay, so Hillary has a lot, you know, she's responsible for, okay? And I'm glad she's not in the White House. But it's time for our party to, you know, to find some younger blood, okay? And I'm looking to, you know, to the new California Senator, you know, Kamala Harris, as a potential candidate. I'm hoping there's going to be a whole new generation now of fresh candidates.
Is there anybody out there on the political landscape, young, who really excites you?
There's a guy named Jason Kander who ran in Missouri. He was
the gun ad, the famous gun ad.
Yeah, the famous gun ad. I love him. He's great, and he's kind of making it his mission to. He lost by a squeaker to this douchebag, Roy Blunt, whose entire family is lobbyists. This guy is the senator from Missouri, and he's making it his mission actually to get young people more involved in politics and the Democratic Party. So yeah, I like him a lot.
Great. We have time for one more question. You're it, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Enjoy the work of all three of you, but Andy, this is Big Fat Joey. Question.
Hey, Big Fat Joey, how you doing?
Good, buddy.
Is that Little Fat Joey?
Little Big Fat Joey's with me.
Little Big Joey.
Question for you: the cross you've been bearing.
Come to some of my book signings.
And we follow Andy around. The jackhammering in front of your apartment, has 311 assisted you and Sally Field with that? And more importantly, what are we doing to help Waka get a good night's sleep?
What about Waka?
To get a good night's sleep with the jackhammering.
Yeah, Waka has no problem. He'll sleep through anything. Sally Field and she was on my show yesterday, and we made a video about she's my next door neighbor. We made a video about some noise issues we were having with jackhammers early in the morning. And I will say that I heard from my city councilman who was helping me out.
That wasn't the plan all along? You weren't really setting that up to happen?
I was hoping I'd hear from someone. You never know. You got to put it out there.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Camille, I was just saying, if you'll linger afterwards, I want to hear what you really think about Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
I'm a little unclear.
And I want to know what you think of Feud.
Oh, okay.
But no, seriously, you two both have enormous fans out here. Thank you for sharing your time with me, with them, and thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. That's great.